Who is Drew Baxter? Drew Baxter is a person who loves God, who loves to serve God, who loves to worship in spirit and in truth. Drew Baxter is a man of integrity. Drew Baxter is a loving father. Drew Baxter is a loving husband. And foremost, Drew Baxter is a living idol that worships God wholeheartedly. How did I come to know Christ? I was probably about 8 years old. I was in Akron, Ohio, and I was at a church with my grandmother. I'll never forget this. It was a New Year's Eve service, and I've always knew God. I was always singing in church, but just doing it. And the pastor, he asked, "Who wants to be saved?" And I ran up to the altar and I gave my life to the Lord at 8 years old. Do I write my own music? Yes, I do. I write a lot of music. A lot of the music that God gives me is from the heart. The lyrics that He gives me, I write purely from my heart, and it's a privilege to be a writer for God's kingdom. What would I say to up-and-coming artists? The first thing that I would say is to keep God first. Don't run after the fame, the fortune. Let God work through you, and the doors will open for you. If you keep Him first, anything is possible. Name 3 things that will surprise you about Drew Baxter. I love, in my spare time, I love to really go to the park and just sit. That's how I get my songs. Just sit out in the open air. I love pizza. A lot of people don't know that. I love pizza. And in my spare time, I love to chill and play video games. My favorite video game right now is actually basketball 2K14. What would I tell my son 20 years from now? That's a good question. I would tell my son to be the best man that he can be a true man of God, and always keep God first. Do everything that you're called to do, and in life, try to make your visions and goals come true. Do anything possible that you can do that is pleasing towards God. How do I balance being an artist, a father, and a husband? That's a lot. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of maturity. One of the things that I do take out the time to, I really take out the time to spend time with my wife and my kids, because that's very important. Because a lot of times as men of God and artists, we can get so caught up and so driven on trying to achieve what God is telling us to do and make everything happen. And a lot of times we don't know how to balance everything out. So the way I like to balance everything out, a lot of times too, I like to take my family with me everywhere I go, everywhere I minister. And that gives time to bond and give all those things a balance. So that's what I like to do. How do I prepare to sing? One of the ways I prepare to sing is I always, one of the things that I like to do, I like to go back to my roots. I'll sing an old school song, like a hymn, and just practice it. And that's how I like to do my warm-ups. I would actually be at home in my restroom, actually practicing to myself in the window, like if I was preaching or if I was singing. So that's how I prepare myself. Who inspires me? For one, my 2 greatest mentors that I have in my life. First is my father, Bishop Drew Baxter. He's one of my greatest mentors. Everything that I know, I've learned from him. I'm grateful to have him in my life. Everything that I know, I've learned from him: how to worship, how to be a minstrel, how to be a psalmist. He's an awesome mentor. And another mentor of mine, a lot of people don't know this, but is for the generation that do know of him, my other mentor is actually Douglas Miller. He's actually my blood uncle. For those that don't know, the guy that wrote "My Soul is Anchored in the Lord." I've traveled all over the world with him. I've learned a lot of great things from him. So those are my 2 big inspirations. I discovered when I can really sing. I was in my room. For those that don't know, I play drums and I play keyboard, and I was in my room. I started off with drums and I was in my room just messing around, and at that time, that's when I wrote my very first song, and I was messing around, just singing, playing, and my dad came in. He said, "Son, you have an awesome gift. You really have an awesome gift. Do you realize what you're doing right now?" And I was like, "No, Dad," and that's where it all took place. Who could I collaborate with, dead or alive? One person that I would love to collaborate with right now is Jonathan Nelson. There's several others, but my main one is Jonathan Nelson. One of the ones that is past that I was hoping I would be able. I played for him before, but I never got a chance to collab with him, and that's the great legend Walter Hall. Sometimes and sometimes not, because I look at it this way. I also do Christian music is an awesome thing, but I also do Christian love music. So I just don't categorize myself in one area, because in today's time you don't have a lot of good pure love music, and that's what I'm next targeting, is writing Christian pure love songs for couples in their spare time that they can listen to. So it can be tough, because a lot of people, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians that I know, they say it's tough working in the gospel industry, then so it's easier to get into the R&B industry, and that is not true. So I say it can be tough, but if you just keep God first, anything is possible. That's what I say all the time. Keep God first. Keep God first. My roughest experience in the industry. How can I say this? The roughest times in the industry, in the gospel industry, is when you're doing something. It's the lack of support as an artist. That can be the most discouraging thing to an artist, because not only you're doing this for the kingdom of God, but you want to bless the lives of the people. You want to see lives change. You want to see souls come to Christ. So when you don't have that support behind you, that can become a big discouragement to an artist, even to a preacher. So that's one of the roughest times for me as an artist. What is next for Drew Baxter? Well, I'm actually in the process. I'm working on 2 projects right now. I'm actually working on my home church project, Perfecting Praise Ministries. We're coming out with the church CD, and I'm also working on my second project, which I will be recording in Baltimore, Maryland. So be looking out for that. It will be coming out late next year, 2014, and our church project in 2014. And I'm just striving, moving forward, doing what God has called me to do, and training up people, and I want to be remembered as a man of God. That's what's coming next. I want to thank My Pure TV for this opportunity, for having me on you all's showcase. The way to get in contact with myself, Drew Baxter, you can hit me up on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Drew Baxter. Follow me on Twitter, Drew Baxter, actually DB Music on Twitter, and I also have a music page on Facebook called DB Music. You can follow me on there. The way to get my music right now, you can go on my church's website, ppmlive.org. That's Perfecting Praise Ministries, but you will put in www.ppmlive.org. Positive message that I want to leave for everyone that is out there: keep God first. Don't just be an artist, be a psalmist, be a minstrel. Stay before God. Stay before God. Seek His face, and through Him anything is possible. God bless you.